Welcome to the new Trade Ideas web version. We're going to go through a setup and we're going to go through dashboard walkthrough. So just to get started, if you actually just go to tradeideas.com, a couple ways to get here. You can click on the heat map here. You can click on My Trade Ideas, probably one of the best ways to get there. And it will just pop you into this site right here. So before we go through the individual channels, let's quickly go to our settings. You can see here on the side, this is where all your navigation is. If I go to My Settings and then I go to Site Preferences, you can see that we have all of the setup that you need to do for the app is right here. If you're in delayed data mode, you can just click live here if you want to go live. These notifications, whether you have alerts open or races open, these will actually send you notifications through your regular browser notifications that you're probably used to seeing with Gmail or Slack, whatever it is that you end up using. Down here, you have your default chart type. So if you pick day trading, for example, your large chart will be 5 minutes and your picture-in-picture chart will be a daily chart. Swing trading, you have a daily chart and a weekly chart, and investing, you have a weekly chart and a monthly chart. So just whatever time frame of a trader you are and wherever you want your charts to default at, that's the setting that you have here as well. Down below, you have just some quick settings for whether you like a dark mode or whether you like a light mode. Whether you want standard, which has dark on the side and light in the middle, or whether you want this sidebar to be a light blue. So you've got some settings there for how you want it to look. Last two settings are whether you want this sidebar to move with you or to stay right where it is on the top, and whether you want it to be compact, which is very tight on the side here, or whether you want it to be full like that. It just depends on how often you think you're going to move through dashboards. You can always hide the sidebar entirely just by clicking this button right up top here. You can hide and open your sidebar like that. Last but not least, we have tabbed and we have separate for our stock details. Let's actually leave that a tab. I'll show you where that is later. And next we have our information portal. When we do all the settings, you can put in your email address. You can make sure you're getting the trade of the week, all the different email addresses you have here. You can see a lot about your membership and your personal information as you go. You see I have a little setup here for my name and everything. And also your profile. So this is a profile that we're doing that's going to be a very more public facing one where you're going to see how you're doing in comparison to other traders. You can see I use a lot of hours when it comes to my TI usage here for this account. I have had 3,141 backtest requests. So again, a lot of things that you can track here just to show you a little bit about yourself and how it is that you're doing when it comes to different trading styles. Now, also on your liked list, you'll be able to see a scrolling stocks that you like and don't like and how they're up or down on the day. So depending on how many you have on your liked list will show there as well. So that's just how you need to get set up personally. When we go to my dashboards, you can see a social aspect that we are taking a look at, building out more, where you can actually share ideas and see ideas shared within the Trade Ideas app. So you have our CEO right here talking about a trade that he's in these particular warrants and how he was looking to potentially look at the support here that was happening in mRNA. You can see a lot of different activities. You can follow and unfollow people here as well, and you can search for more people. So let me just see if I can find Jamie. There is Jamie right there, where now I can look and I can follow Jamie. If I like the trades that he likes to look at, I can see a lot of that right here. So you can build your own little social feed of people with Inside Trade Ideas who are sharing their results when it comes to what it is they're looking at there as well. You can also write a lot of this your own. You can write your own social post. So, come in and share what it is that you're looking at with different charts for sure. Messaging, I can also message Jamie and I can just say hi. So people that you follow, you can communicate back and forth with different people inside the trading rooms and communicate back and forth with different traders. start your own little group. Sometimes it's good to share ideas and to bounce ideas back and forth across each other. And then next we also have our calendar, which we're going to be filling this out more very soon, but it's going to be able to show events that are occurring at Trade Ideas. And we had recently a stock trading tournament that happened just a couple weeks ago. You can see that that occurred in this period as well. Here is the Trade Ideas test drive, the Portfolio Master Challenge, anything that's big and interesting that's happening at Trade Ideas, you'll be able to see on the calendar. So now let's pop into resources before we get into the dashboards. You can grab the user guide right here. So you can, if you want a text version of what it is that's going on in the software, you can do that. Education will bring you to a little bit of an education platform that we have where we have some get it started videos. We have our user guide. You can access our daily support sessions, our free trading room, educational videos, all of this right here as well. Now let's get into the channels. So you can see here with these different channels, this is our way at Trade Ideas to try to lay out different aspects of the market that we think would be interesting depending on what it is you're looking at. And as always, I want to mention, you can open up multiple tabs. So you can have a bunch of different tabs open and you can go through these tabs and they'll all maintain data in real time. So if we go right here, if you are watching the Trade Ideas podcast behind the headlines, this is where I keep track of all the things we're planning on talking about during that time. And all of these different dashboards you can see are all running with live data at the same time. So you can have multiple browser tabs open. You can spread them across multiple screens if you would like to make sure you're able to track many different trades at once through what you're seeing here. Now, this first dashboard is the Trade Ideas Market Scope 360, and this is going to show everything that is moving dramatically in the here and now and show all of that to you. So just breaking apart what we're seeing here piece by piece, all focused on this idea of what's moving right now. We have our ticker here that has biggest gainers and biggest losers. And this is just going to be scrolling by all day, showing you what's up and down the most on the day. If you click on any of these, as always, the chart will update, but also, which is new, if you hover over any of them, you see a nice little 15-minute chart that gives you a really awesome snapshot on what's happening right now in this chart. So I can quickly see this TNDM has gapped up and now it's just consolidating sideways. So if I click on that, I can see the 15-minute chart here to see if this is something that I'm maybe interested in buying. You notice that the scrolling stopped when I got there, just to make it easy to click on. These are the names down for a day. There's a lot of names not doing so well. I can look at those, see potentially if there's maybe a short trade or something I want to buy the dip on. Right here, we have our tree maps, and these are showing us ranking of stocks by something that's going on currently. Right now, we have change in the last 30 minutes. So if I click on this, and let's actually just go to a 30-minute chart. You can see this is a new IPO. This is going to show me the stocks that are up the most in this last 30 minutes. 30-minute bar that's happening right here. You can see this LHS up pretty big over this $4 area. And again, if I hover over them, I'm getting these thumbnail charts. It's giving me a good idea of what's going on. Again, talking about buying the dip, this might be a good place to take a look if things are moving lower. I see that this is actually red on the day, and I can see that by the outline of the tile. However, it's up in the last 15 minutes, so maybe looking to put in a little bit of a bottom there on some of these names. Scrolling down, we have our stock race. This is going to be showing us in real time what's moving up the most right now. This is a good way to rank relative strength or relative weakness and try to look for things that are performing great, again, right now. If we take a look at this OSTK, this is going to be moving in this moment. We even need to go to a shorter term chart because this is for the people that are looking to get something pushing right now. You can see this push off of 369 to 390 just right in a row. Now down here we have a new interesting scan that's essentially comparing these up stocks versus down stocks. So this is in real time showing us what we call market breadth in technical analysis, showing us these are the names that are up and these are the names that are making new lows. So new highs above, new lows below, and in the middle, it's actually showing us, it's ranking them. So right now there is 78% of these are new highs, and 21% of market movers are new lows. And then I can see a graphical representation of what this looks like. It looks like the new highs are starting to settle in a little bit, and then new lows are actually settling in. So sometimes what you'll notice is a spike in one of these charts, one way or the other, and then that will cause a market move. Because if all of a sudden, you can see we had a little tick up here, if all of a sudden we're seeing more new highs than new lows starting to print in, then you can know that potentially there's some buying going on in the underlying market. Now into my watch list, this is a great way to track anything that it is that you want to see in the market and be able to go through these scans as well. And this is where we'll take a little bit of time to look at the chart as at the same time. Let's just take a look at, for example, let's just look at, I don't know, some ETFs here. So these are all the direction ETFs, something that someone can play with a little bit more. You can make your own list, which I'll show you in a second. You can import some of the lists that we have as well. But of course, just like I mentioned, if I go through and I hover over these names, I'm getting these thumbnail charts. But if I click on one, you see my main chart here updates. And also whatever list I'm looking at above here creates this heat map, which I talked about in the last screen, and then also creates a race. You can see all of these things get updated based off whatever list you choose to have up here. Now, all of the information that you generally need for trading is going to be contained exactly on our chart here. So if we go through this chart that we're seeing, which is a bear ETF, I can automatically start to see how much volume has happened today, how much options volume, shares outstanding, market cap, all this. But if I go to a stock as opposed to an ETF, you see that a lot of this changes, and it changes dynamically based off whatever you're looking at. So right now with Apple, instead of showing me a lot of market cap and stock features, it's actually showing me fundamentals, which obviously don't exist on ETF, but do exist on underlying names. Now we're knowing that the earnings actually happened this morning as of recording this. We know the float, we know the short float, the profitability of the company, all of that is outlined right here in the individual name. Now we can add and remove things from our list. So we can go to something that's just called my liked. And let's say I like Apple and I want to add that to my list. I just hit the little plus button here and I can just type in Apple, and now bam, it's on the list. So as I add names in, let's just add in another one here with the SPY. You can see that I can just keep a look at what's going on. I can sort these columns just by clicking on the column header. If I want to sort by what's up the most in the last 15 minutes versus what's up the most today, I can do that just by clicking these columns. I could just do it alphabetically if I want to find something easily. I can also click to make this full screen. To be honest, this is something I always have up in the corner of my screen with whatever my holdings are at the time. I want to keep an eye on those. These menu items that we have, we hide under these three dots. So if you want to click a menu item, you can create a new list, you can rename a list, or you can delete a list. So if you just want to quickly on the fly make a new list for, I don't know, energy stocks, if you really like the look of energy right now, you can quickly create a new list, and then that will show up in this drop-down menu here as well. Now into my trading, and this is where you can do paper trading, and eventually we're going to have live trading here happen as well. So I have this position on UNG where I am short 400 shares of UNG, doing fairly well on this position. Now we're going to talk about here how you enter and exit trades as well, but you can also see that I have these orders outstanding, which I can cancel the orders. I can add new orders by either clicking this plus button that you see as I hover over the chart. I can click this and I can either buy 1,000 shares or sell 1,000 shares. Or if I click on the word shares, I can change this to dollars, where I could buy, say, $10,000 worth of this company or sell 10,000 at this individual price. So let's just go back to Apple. And I'm going to buy $10,000 worth of Apple if we get above this last 2 days highs. And you can see how quickly I'm able to put out this order, and that order will then execute. It's all held server side. If you're paper trading, you're learning how to trade, this is an excellent way to do it. Also, if you're just testing a new strategy, maybe you're already trading live, you want to test a new strategy. Eventually, you'll be able to do this with your broker as well. Trade ticket, I click this and I open up trade ticket, and this just gives me a little bit more flexibility. You can see here, as soon as I click that button, it turned into a buy stop as it broke through that price. But now I can refine it a little bit more. If I want to do a limit order, I can type in the price here, how many dollars or shares to trade, whether or not that expires at the end of the day, or I want to leave it to keep it out till the end of the week, and then which account I want this to go to when you have multiple paper trading accounts, like for example when we put on a contest. But actually, let me go to market, and I'm just going to buy $10,000 at market, because you can see as the moment I did that, a position entered into my screen right here. Now I can click on this and it will show me obviously my P&L. I can go back to UNG, I can show that trade, and then I can go back to Apple and it shows right on the chart where I bought. Now from here, if I hover over, let's actually remove this other trade there. Now, when I hover over this, it gives me some options. You can see there's a stop button and a target button. So if I take this stop loss and I drag it below this low and I let it go, it's going to put out a stop order right under these lows. And I can do the same with a target order where I can drag this above price and I can push it there as well. So now it's telling me how much I'm up. It's also telling me here how much I would lose if my stop loss gets hit, and then I have a target out there as well I can put in place. So if I want to get out of this position at any time, I'm up $8. If I want to take my $8, I can just click the X button and click OK, and it will just close that position. So you can see now I have 0 shares and I made a total of $10. Congratulations to me. Down below here on your orders tab, you can quickly see what orders you put out. You can see I put out this buy order and then I canceled it, and then I got filled in this market order as well. So green will be filled, gray will be canceled. You can see all the trading that you've done there as well. Also, if you just want to look at the chart because you want to zoom in, you really want to fine tune your trading, you can just hit the open button and go through there as well. If we go into the Momentum Waves channel, this is using our stock races, which I showed on the Market Scope 360. However, there's 2 of them, and you can customize these a little bit. So all of these icons you see on top are going to be different types of races. So for example, if I'm someone who wants to focus on the S&P 500, I can drag and drop that in here. Now it's going to show me stocks in the S&P 500 that are moving up the most. And let's say I also want to look at up gappers that are on the move. I can drag and drop that in here. And now this one is going to show me stocks that have gapped up, like this VSEE. Gapped up here, and that's on the move right now. And this is just going to show me S&P 500 names that are on the move right now. Any of these down ones will obviously do the reverse, where this is going to show me stocks down the most. We have Intel down 27% today and making new lows. And then we have Snapchat that actually gapped down and is also pushing to new lows. So quick and easy to customize to see what's going on there. If we go into the stock deep dive, this is going to give us a big chart up top, and then if we scroll down, this is where that tabbed versus separate option that I showed you earlier comes in. The tabbed option is going to show all of the detail in these tabs. If I had clicked separate, it's going to push this out. So this is when I really want to get into the nitty-gritty on any individual symbol. I can do that here. I get a little bit more breakdown of information on the company. I can go see what it does, read a little bit about the company, go to its website, and also I can go to the news here. And in the news tab, it's just going to tell me things like what's happening in the company. So it had 2024 performance. If I click on this, it's going to go to the website that this information was derived from, and I can read through that for people who want to read the news a little bit more. And then down here, it's going to show some competitors in the app space, like DoorDash, for example. Into stock groups, this is taking that same group of scans that we showed in the momentum ones. However, it's looking for stocks that are potentially more of a snapshot as opposed to looking in real time the way the races are. So for example, if I take these gappers and I scroll it in, well, now it's showing me the stocks that have gapped up the most of the day. And if I grab in the down gappers, these are going to be the stocks that gap down the most today. So if I'm quickly looking for gaps, I can take a look at this in the morning. I can also click this drop down, and you can do this with any of these tree maps. I can go through and I can change these options as well. And then as I talked about these three dots, I can either do a grid view, which will just show me a grid sorted by stocks down the most and give me some information here, or I can do it in the tree map view, and both of these will update in real time. If we are having a stock trading competition, you will see everything that you need to see for that competition right here. You can see the person who is winning, how much they're up, how many trades they took, basic information like this. And you can look at the leaderboard to see where it is that you stand and all of that. We have a chart over here, but what's very interesting is down here below, we actually have tree maps and races, which you know about by now, but they are now sorted by stocks that are being traded by our winners. So the people who are doing the best in the competition, they get their stocks put into these lists. And then from there, you can see what these people are trading. So it ends up being a very interesting way to curate examples of things that are doing well and things that are doing poorly, but doing it based off of a social aspect as opposed to just looking at raw numbers. And again, this drop down you can change as well on that. Last but not least, we have sectors in play. So this is for someone who is maybe not as interested in individual names that are moving, but you want a wide breadth of knowledge of what's going on in the market. There's another tab that I leave open all the time because I can quickly look over and I can say, well, uranium's having a bad day, whereas consumer staples is doing well. So while I'm doing my trading and my scanning, if I notice something from the consumer staples sector, that's going to be a little bit more interesting. If I see something from the uranium side of things, I know that that sector is having a bad day and I may need to do a little bit more analysis on that. We also have a race that's going to show what sector is moving the most at the moment. And then down here at the very bottom, we have an accumulation distribution chart. And this is showing us the amount of stocks that are up on the day and how much they're up on the day and the amount of stocks that are down on the day. So you can see a lot more red than green here, showing us that we have way more stocks that are down on the day than up. So that has been an overview of the dashboards. We'll just go quickly around the outside here before we end it. This heat map gives a good idea of what indices are up or down a day, how much. You can see we're pretty red across the board here. We also have the ability to search stocks. So as opposed to going through and trying to figure out searching an individual name, if I want to quickly get to that stock deep dive, I can just type in Apple. You see that there's a couple different things that pop up. We have some Apple and some Apple single stock ETFs. If I click on one of these, you can see it brings up the chart and it brings us into the stock deep dive where I can do all of my research. Now, above here, we have the ability to cycle live data and we have the ability to quickly cycle that color scheme. So at night, sometimes my eyes get tired, a bit of an old man. I like to go to dark mode, but you can move all of that here. And then you can also switch to delayed data mode if you want to use the application with real-time data. Up here, we have the ability to quickly keep an eye on portfolios that I showed over in my trading. So I can keep an eye on this portfolio and see how well it's doing or how poorly I'm doing on any given day. And over here, we have the ability for messaging. Now, going forward, we are working on ways that we can message you if there are stocks moving, if our artificial intelligence is interesting in something. A lot of things we can do where we can kind of more directly contact our users. So pay attention to this, read through it. Here's an example where we had the contest going on. So pay attention to this right here. And then last but not least is the ability to sign in and out of your account. So that is a complete walkthrough of our new web version. I, for one, as a Mac user and someone who likes to keep an eye on things as I'm moving, very excited about this. I love the fact that it works on any device that has access to a web browser. So you're talking iPhones, iPads, you're talking smart fridges if you want, Android tablets. If you can access the web browser, you can now use Trade Ideas with the new Trade Ideas web version.